as you will see from the title, GGG actually have been implementing brand new patch notes the past couple of days. And for some reason, I actually saved the old patch notes for cases like these so I can compare it every single day and see if we have anything new. And guess what? We do. And actually the changes that we have are pretty dramatic in some cases. So as you can see here, this is my file with patch notes comparison, the old ones and the new ones. I managed to categorize them so we can have an easier time reading stuff and coloring them as well, so we can be able to understand what the differences are. Starting off strong, they just added this sentence here. It says, continue to incrementally improve the sound, art, effect, and the environment, which is a good change to have. First big change is through the flammability mechanic, which is the brand new ignite mechanic that they announced. Previously, it says effects which don't hit but ignite targets as though they did also inflict flammability but are not able to ignite targets until the target has 100% flammability. They now actually reduced it to 50%, which makes flammability a little bit better than before. Actually, not a little bit, a lot better than before. Then we have a couple of player changes. They added a brand new update for the Arcane Surge buff. Now grants 15% increased cast speed instead of 10% more cast speed. This change is not only a wordplay, but it has to do with multipliers and additive. So for example, 15% increased cast speed is very different to 10% more cast speed. Then we have the accuracy fall off penalty that did 2 meters down to 12. Now they reduced it from 2 meters down to 9 meters instead of 12. Then we've got the first change on ascendancies, and the first one is Smith of Kitava. We've got the flowing metal notable. They actually buffed it by 15%. It now grants 50% of armor to also apply to elemental damage. The second new ascendancy change in the brand new patch notes is for Witch Hunter. We previously didn't have any updates on the Witch Hunter, but now we do have for the Weapon Master, which now apparently grants 100 passive skill points to become weapon set skill points. Previously it was 20. The preceding small passive now grants 6% increased cooldown recovery rate instead of the actual weapon set skill points. Deadeye just got nerfed a little bit, and actually it's not a little bit, it's quite significant nerf on the Eagle Eye's notable passive skill that everybody was talking about, and I spoke about it. It gave us 20 stacks of critical weakness, which was insane. And now the Eagle Eye's notable has been renamed to Bullseye. I don't know, I misspelled this. And it also applies 10 stacks of critical weakness instead of 20. There is no chance that this little change is going to make Deadeye unplayable. It's not going to be as good as it was supposed to be before. Then we have Acolyte of Chayula. Acolyte of Chayula just got a massive rework onto the Into the Breach skill. They completely changed the quality actually. Quality now provides 0 to 15% increased effect of remnants. Previously, a flame of Chayula manifests nearby over a couple of seconds. So that mechanic no longer exists, and now instead of that, it just gives you 0 to 15% increased effect of remnants, which I think it's a pretty good change. Everything else stays the same for the skill. Another small but I think significant change is on the Infernalist's demon form. Now the only thing that they added is actually a buff to the effect of demon form. It says life loss per second from demon flame is now lower beyond skill gem 20. Next we've got a couple of skill changes, and here is where all the nerfs are actually. So first things first, they added a new, whenever you see this, that means that it's a new addition. We didn't have anything in the old patch notes regarding this. So ground effects captured by whirlwind now only lasts for 4 seconds before the whirlwind reverts to its normal state. Then we have arc. The old patch notes said that quality now provides 0 to 10% chance to not remove an infusion but still count as consuming them. And now the new patch note says the quality now provides chains up to 2 additional times. This would have made Arc insanely good with the brand new infusions. So it is a nerf when it comes down to their new notes. And a lot of these nerfs are going to be like that. So just saying, before people start crying in the comments that they're nerfing everything. They're not. They're nerfing their initial ideas of what they wanted to do, probably because they're too busy playtesting everything and they notice that things are too broken before release, which is fine. Then we have new armor piercing rounds. Quality now provides a break 0 to 20% of armor, previously 0 to 30. This is a proper nerf. This is what we have have currently in the game, and this is the first time that they're announcing that they're actually nerfing this. There you go. Then Blood Hunt Explosion now causes life loss rather than unscalable damage. Then we've got a pretty big and significant change on Bone Shatter. 100% more damage against uniques is what they initially said, and now they're dropping it to 50% more damage against unique enemies. So it's still going to be good, but it's not going to be as good as they initially said it will be. Then we've got the Cold Snap, which is now renamed to Snap. We know that. Initially, they said that this is going to work on orb spells, but it seems that they changed their mind on it. But the new version now says that Cold Explosion now deals 50% more damage against bosses. Then we've got a significant nerf, a proper nerf to Combat Frenzy. Quality now provides 0 to 10% chance when you gain a charge to gain an additional one. It used to be 0 to 20%. Dark Effigy quality now provides 0 to 0.2 meters to impact radius instead of 0 to 20% inflict withered for 2 seconds on hit. Detonating Arrows quality now provides 0 to 1 to maximum stages. Previously it used to be 0 to 2. Then we have some pretty big changes to Electrocuting Arrow. I think they noticed that it's going to be busted and they nerfed it before it released. Now the changes are, it now deals 128 to 281% attack damage at gem levels 5 to 20. Previously, it used to be 302, 572%. Attack speed is now 80% of base, and the mana cost has been reduced by approximately 40% at all gem levels. Then we've got a complete difference to Falling Thunder and Flicker Strike. Falling Thunder, now the quality provides 0 to 20% more damage per power charge consumed rather than 0 to 10% chance to not remove charges on use. So they're taking away charge maintenance and they're giving us more control over our damage, which is not a bad change. Flicker Strike's quality, exactly the same thing. Then we've got Fragmentation Rounds. Instead of 100% more damage against bosses, now it's 50% more damage against bosses. Then we've got Freezing Salvo. It says quality now provides 0 to 40% more freeze buildup. Previously, delay between missile accumulation is 0 to 0.2 seconds shorter. So instead of doing the missile accumulation, it now gives you more freeze buildup. So Freezing Salvo, I think it's going to be a very good addition to your kit, especially if you want to go a cold build with bows. Then we've got a very tiny, but it's going to be pretty significant change to Frostbomb. The only difference is that now they added a limit, and that limit is 1 on the Frostbomb. You cannot have more than 1. Then we've got Hand of Chayula. Quality now provides 0 to 20% increased duration of socketed gems. Instead of supported curses have 0 to 10% increased magnitude. It still also provides an increased effect of socketed marks. Then we've got Living Bomb. You're going to notice that half of it is green because green means that it's a change. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a buff. Now has a base critical hit chance of 7%. Previously it used to be 9. Explosion now deals 30 to 46 fire damage. It previously was 31 to 46, so it's just one. I don't know why they did that change. Scaling up to, and this is the big difference, scaling up to 340 to 510 fire damage used to be 278, 418. Then we've got Magma Barrier. Quality now provides 0 to 5% increased block chance. Instead of raising your shield, infuses it with magma for a couple of seconds. Then we have Mantra of Destruction. Quality now requires 0 to 1 fewer combo to use. Previously used to be 0 to 2. Profane Rituals. Quality now provides 0 to 10% chance to not destroy consumed cores. Used to be 0 to 20%. Then we have a slight change to raw amount. The only difference here to how it works is that heavy stun buildup on you now starts decaying if you avoid getting hit for 2 seconds while riding the Roa. Then we have the Skeletal Brutes. There's a whole paragraph added to them, and it says Bone Shatter attack now deals 50% more damage on the initial strike and 100% more damage on the shockwave. Quality now provides minions to cause 0 to 40% more stun buildup. Used to be 0 to 20%, so it's a pretty significant buff to the Skeletal Brutes. Next skill we've got is Snipe. They actually did reduce the percentage of the attack damage that it gets. Initially they said it's going to be 424 to 1092% with a radius of 2.8 meters. Now they reduced it by a pretty significant margin here, is 363 and 936%. and the radius is 2.5 meters. Then sorcery ward quality now grants barrier, can take elemental damage up to 0 to 5% of your armor and evasion. Used to be 0 to 10%, so that's a slight nerf to the existing one that we have. Then supercharged slam, the quality now provides 0 to 1 to maximum stages. Used to be 0 to 2. Then toxic growth, now it has an attack speed of 80% of base, which is the same that they did with the electrocuting arrow. Now, vaulting impact, they nerfed their own number to 193 to 422, but now the quality provides broken stance, has 0 to 2 seconds duration or until daze is removed. Used to be 0 to 20% chance to cause an aftershock. Next, we have 2 changes on the uniques, and they buffed both of them. The Black Braid unique body armor used to have 80 to 120% of armor applies to elemental damage. Now they increased that by 100 and 150%. Then they said that the Ice Tomb unique body armor now grants gain cold thorns equal to 10 to 18% of your maximum mana instead of freeze, as though dealing cold damage equal to 10% of your maximum mana when hit. Then we have a couple of decent item changes here. So first of all, quarterstaves, the crackling, arcing, and bolting now have inherent physical damage as well as a small amount of inherent lightning damage. Then the cultist, adherent, and fanatic bows have inherent physical damage as well as small amount of inherent chaos damage. Then we have 3 different soul cores changing in the exact same fashion. So for example, 25% of armor also applies to cold is now 30% of armor also applies to cold. Then we have the exact same thing for Topotante soul core, and then lastly Zalatal's for the lightning damage, exactly the same small buff right here. And lastly, we've got some user interface changes, and I think they're pretty cool changes. Added a brand new aiming mode input option that allows you to pick between cursor targeting and ground targeting when using a mouse and a keyboard. Cursor targeting causes skills that travel directly forward, such as most projectiles and strikes, to pass directly through your cursor's position. Ground targeting causes these skills to pass over the ground location targeted by the cursor. Skills that directly target the ground will do so at your cursor's location regardless of the setting. By default, cursor targeting is enabled for WASD and ground target is enabled for click to move. Then we have added a brand new keep sprinting while moving gameplay interface option. When this option is enabled, you will continue to sprint even after releasing the dodge button until you stop moving or use a skill. Last but not least, and this is a pretty decent change, added the option to assign your equipped weapons to both of your weapon set instead of needing to use different items in each weapon set. This can be enabled by right-clicking the weapon set icon on keyboard and mouse, or holding Y or triangle with the weapon highlighted on the controller. And that's basically all the changes that they've done so far. I'm gonna keep an eye on them just to see if there's anything else that's interesting. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what your opinion is down below. And as always, I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace.